Today on the Morning Edition, anti-ICE protests spread to Anchorage as Los Angeles braces for a 6th day of unrest, and Governor Dunleavy weighs in on ICE detainees being held in Alaska. And a beloved actor brutally murdered in San Antonio being remembered here in Alaska. A friend reflects on his time captivating an audience here in our state as people across the country mourn the loss of Jonathan Joss. And later, a 90-year-old goes for a birthday bucket list skydive. We'll tag along for the momentous birthday milestone as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, halfway into the week, and boy, are we in for a nice weather treat.
Yeah, we saw some pleasant conditions yesterday. We're going to see even warmer weather taking hold today and through the rest of this week. A beautiful start to the morning overlooking Fire Island, where we are sitting up under mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies across South Central, and those temperatures actually sitting on the milder side compared to where we've been each and every morning. We're actually seeing those temperatures to start off the day hovering near that 50-degree mark. And we did see a record low, brand new record low that was set yesterday when those temperatures dropped down into the 30s. Today, though, is certainly a stark difference as those warmer conditions continue to spread across the state. 49 currently here in Anchorage. You can see across the rest of South Central, we do have those temperatures in the low to mid 40s, still holding on to some light rain out towards eastern parts of Prince William Sound, and then, of course, Colcana, waking up to some possible frost on the ground with those temperatures sitting near freezing. But while we are starting off with some areas on the cooler side, we are going to see those temperatures steadily warm throughout the remainder of today. We'll easily climb into the 60s today across South Central. There's a decent opportunity that areas of East Anchorage and into the valley, we'll see an opportunity for temperatures to warm near 70, if not into the lower 70s. And we'll continue to warm through the rest of this week. Now, so far this season, we've only seen 5 days. This is since January 1st. 5 days where those temperatures have warmed into the 60s. Last year, through this same time period, we saw 9. Check out 2022. Through this same time period, we saw nearly 24 days where those temperatures have warmed into the 60s. And so far, this is the 4th fewest number of 60-degree days year to date. But we are going to track some of those warmer conditions through the rest of this week. 70s and 80s in the interior. We're also watching some hazy skies for parts of the interior with some sunshine for southeast. I'll have more on that in that 7-day forecast for you coming up.
In today's top story, an investigation is underway this morning after officials say an aircrew ejected from an F-16 at Eielson Air Force Base. Officials say the Republic of Korea F-16D Fighting Falcon took off around 4 p.m. Tuesday, then departed the prepared surface on base, forcing the aircrew to eject. So what you're looking at, those are planes similar to the one involved. We're told the incident happened inside the base fence line, but officials would not say how many crew members were involved. Only that emergency teams responded and the crew were taken to a hospital for evaluation. A witness traveling south on the Richardson Highway told Alaska's news source she saw what appeared to be a damaged aircraft near the runway with 8 to 10 emergency vehicles nearby. She described the plane's nose as crumpled with the rear still on its wheels. Base officials say the investigation is ongoing. State corrections leaders say there have been 11 ICE-related arrests in Alaska since January, including that of a soldat and a restaurant owner who did not appear in an Anchorage federal court Tuesday. Federal Judge Sharon Gleason sounded upset as she told a government lawyer she was, quote, surprised the suspect in this immigration case, Francisco Rodriguez Rincon, was not in court. At points, the prosecution told the judge she could grant an order for ICE agents to return him, but Judge Gleason said it was ICE's responsibility since he's in their custody, saying they had until Monday to bring him back to Alaska, or she could dismiss the case. The 47-year-old, whose state licenses show owns 2 Soldotna restaurants, Senor Panchos and Sol Agave, remains detained in an ICE facility in Tacoma, Washington. He faces 1 count of illegal reentry after deportation from a case dating back to 1995 and 1 count of making a false statement of U.S. citizenship, the feds claiming he illegally obtained an Alaska's driver's license. In April, a federal judge released him on his own recognizance. He pled not guilty during his first appearance. Roughly 3 weeks later, ICE arrested him. Court documents do not say why. We have expanded our coverage with this entire history of this case on our website and mobile app. Governor Mike Dunleavy also weighing in as the state holds 40 male ICE detainees at the Anchorage Correctional Complex under what the Department of Corrections calls an existing contract.
So my understanding is the federal government reimburses for whatever use they have of our prisons, A. This is not the first time. ICE has always used prisons across the country in states. So this is nothing new. It's just being highlighted because of the issues being raised by protesters.
Governor Dunleavy made his comments after speaking to the Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce, where he also promoted his liquefied natural gas pipeline plan. A spokesperson for the Department of Corrections says the ICE detainees will generate nearly $224 per day for state care. The 40 detainees, they come from 12 countries. A small but vocal group of protesters marched around the Anchorage Correctional Complex Tuesday night, raising their voices against the state's role in holding federal immigration detainees. Roughly 20 people gathered outside the facility, holding banners and signs with slogans demanding immigration and customs enforcement workers resign from their positions. Different speakers took turns calling for an end to immigration detention. All of this, of course, tying into protests popping up across the country as anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles stretching into a 6th day. President Trump is defending his controversial moves to send Marines and National Guards to L.A. while threatening more force. This as lawmakers on Capitol Hill are seizing on the politics of it all and weighing into the fray. Chris Pallone has the latest from Washington.
The streets of downtown Los Angeles largely quiet overnight after the city's mayor instituted a mandatory curfew. It followed another day of protests against widespread federal immigration raids. California Governor Gavin Newsom condemned the violent confrontations between protesters and police, which started Friday.
I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account.
But Newsom once again accused President Trump of making the situation worse. The president sending thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to L.A. against the wishes of state and local leaders. Newsom now suing to send them home.
He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. We do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces, not in L.A., not in California, not anywhere.
Speaking to soldiers in North Carolina, President Trump defended the deployments.
If we didn't do this, Los Angeles would burn. It would be burning to the ground right now, just like the houses burned to the ground just a few months ago.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats pressed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on the price tag for the National Guard deployment.
Could the Secretary please address the budget? Thank you.
You asked about the situation in Los Angeles, and we believe ICE agents should be allowed to be safe in doing their operations.
The Pentagon revealing it will cost roughly $134 million. And it appears the Trump administration will soon target other cities.
Should people expect to see similar operations in the rest of the country?
Yeah. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
Federal laws generally ban the military from taking part in domestic law enforcement. California Governor Gavin Newsom is requesting a temporary restraining order to stop the Trump administration from deploying the military to aid in immigration activity in L.A. A federal judge is set to hear arguments tomorrow. The life and legacy of late actor Jonathan Jost has spread to Alaska a little more than a week after he was shot dead in San Antonio. Cody Blackbird is a musician who said he once shared the stage with Jost at the Taproot in Anchorage for a show they were performing. While the two men were collaborating, Blackbird mentioned that he had a show coming up. Jost had just finished wrapping up filming for Parks and Recreation and always wanted to visit Alaska, saying it was on his bucket list. The two made the show happen, and Jost made sure that it was truly a show to remember.
He did the Still No Good. And so he's like, Jonathan, the John Redcorn band is still no good. The Cody Blackbird band is still no good. He lifts his mic stand. He throws his mic stand on the ground. He jumps off the stage and he stumbles out as if he was drinking or something out of the venue, just leaves. And everybody stands up and just gives him a round of applause. It was epic.
Blackbird says Jost held high reverence for Alaska and its people, wanting to talk to everyone to know their stories, even at one point being moved to near tears when looking at the mountains that surround Anchorage. To read more about the actor's visit to the state, head to our mobile app or our website. The Alaska Dive Search, Rescue, and Recovery Team returned to the water near Homer Tuesday with a mission to recover the last missing member of the Maynard family. These are photos of their crew working the search area. It's been 10 months since the boat the Texas family was on capsized. The remains of one family member are still missing. State troopers plan to provide an update today as divers push forward their search, dependent on the weather. Homelessness looks to be top of mind for the Anchorage Assembly as Tuesday night's meeting tackled the topic with a series of resolutions and ordinances. Will Courtney was there.
The Assembly approved funding for a new shelter at Tuesday's meeting. 100 new beds will be used at the Alex Hotel and Suites for non-congregate shelter. Funding for the beds will come from state grants totaling over $2.4 million. The item faced some opposition, but ultimately passed in a vote of 9-3. Also on the agenda, an ordinance to criminalize camping on public property. While it was only introduced Tuesday, the legislation's 3 sponsors hope to make it a reality.
Right now, we have people being murdered on our streets. We have drug overdoses. We have people being sexually trafficked. We can no longer allow this. This isn't compassion. This is abandonment.
The Assembly also heard public comment on the proposed change to a recent law that made ID checks for alcohol mandatory.
The sponsors who moved the repeal have heard pretty broadly from individuals in the industry who are saying it's an overwhelming change to people who are visitors to the state, and it's creating more problems. And from my personal perspective, I'll support it at this point.
Will Courtney, Alaska's news source.
The ordinance to criminalize camping on public property was postponed until July. The meeting also saw the passage of an ordinance to make people mover transit-free to riders under the age of 18. That will take effect next month. Coming up, from garden to table, one of the best ways to provide food for a community is to grow it. We'll visit one such garden in Fairbanks, working to feed hungry neighbors in today's Arctic Gardens next.
Still chasing some of those warming conditions across the state as we officially hit 70 later today in the interior. I'll have that forecast and what to expect through the rest of this week. First at sunrise, 423 in Anchorage, 352 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
And good morning, everyone. Back here on your Wednesday, having plans to get out and about today. It's going to be a good one with some sunshine. Aaron, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. We are chasing 70s through the interior, which look likely today for the first time this season. It will be the latest first 70-degree reading on record. The latest was June 7th, set back in 1955. That high-pressure system that we've been talking about, that's going to lead to those warmer temperatures across a good portion of the state. The interior, 70s and 80s look likely. Of course, the 80s will arrive by week's end, while here in South Central we'll warm into the 60s and the 70s. And we may see the 70s arriving as early as today. 41 degrees in McGrath, 37 in Utqiagvik, 39 degrees in Juneau. Still holding on to some of that coastal rain as you head across western Alaska. And then we've got some of those rain showers, or passing rain showers, that will continue to impact parts of the Eielson. So active weather stays out over the open waters of the Bering, and we've got this area of low pressure that's still keeping some light rain showers out towards eastern parts of Prince William Sound, and that will introduce some cloud coverage later today out towards southeast, with a possibility that parts of the northern panhandle could see some isolated showers. Of course, the better chance for some rain across southeast arrives into your Thursday and Friday. So there's our ridge. You can really see it taking hold across the state. Outside of that upper level low that we do have, that did bring us some widespread rain through the weekend. That kind of continues to fizzle out as it pulls out towards southeast. But this ridge stays with us. Active weather out over the open waters of the Bering. So if you live in Gamble, St. Lawrence, southern parts of the Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, and then through parts of the Yukon Delta, even though that ridge is influencing your weather pattern, you're right there on the edge of that trough ridge. So you will see that chance for some cloud coverage and some rain showers staying with you through the rest of this week. But a good portion of the state will see that stretch of sunshine and warming weather staying with us. And so what does this ridge of high pressure mean? Well, not only are we talking about warming conditions, but we've got plenty of sunshine in the forecast and little to no precip expected across the state for a good portion of Alaska outside of areas out towards western parts of the state. And of course, that lingering precip that we're still seeing through parts of Prince William Sound. We'll see those temperatures warming into the 60s today across South Central. An outside chance we could see parts of the valley warming near 70 degrees. We could see some breezy conditions across the Kenai, only winds up to about 15 miles per hour. But these temperatures are shaping up to be nice for the rest of this week. We'll make it into the upper 50s, lower 60s through Prince William Sound. And of course, areas across Valdez, Cordova, we'll continue to see at least some light rain showers through the first half of the day. 66 in Golconda. Now here it is in the valley where we could see an opportunity later today with those temperatures warming near 70 degrees. If not today, we will see it into your Thursday and Friday as even warmer conditions are expected across the region. 63 here in Anchorage for today. Those overnight lows in the upper 40s for many areas. So we are going to see a lot more pleasant conditions during the morning hours. And then there's that 7-day forecast. You can see mid to upper 60s through the close of this week. And again, we will see parts of East Anchorage, potentially along the Sterling Highway, the Copper River Basin, and the valley, seeing a better chance for those temperatures to warm into the lower 70s. Watching a chance we could see some showers into your Father's Day weekend. Any of those showers not widespread, but we'll be watching for that. May extend into our Monday, but largely expecting dry conditions to stay with us for the foreseeable future.
All right, thanks, Aaron. A garden's first purpose is to feed people, and in Fairbanks, one nonprofit is hoping to take care of a whole community. Alex Bengal has more on a longtime project put on by a local soup kitchen. Here's this week's Arctic Gardens.
Stone Soup Garden lies in the heart of downtown Fairbanks. 70 garden beds fed by drip irrigation and put together by the community and for the community.
This is a really interesting garden to work in just because of the different types of people you interact with.
Garden manager Peter Miller works with volunteers throughout the summer to plant, weed, and water the open beds. Potatoes, kale, Brussels sprouts, and nasturtiums are just a few of the growing varieties.
I try to plant a lot of stuff that people can eat fresh without having to cook or do anything to.
The garden, now in its 10th year, is put on by the nonprofit Breadline Inc., all with the goal of feeding people.
This is a way to do it just very directly and with locally grown, healthy food that is often really difficult for people to access.
First planting began toward the end of May, and Miller expects harvesting to begin around solstice and continue until the frost comes in the fall. Alex Bengal, Alaska's News Source.
You've been listening to the Alaska's News Source podcast. Subscribe to have the latest episodes delivered to your library automatically.